Hi guys, I left something on Blackboard that talks about us finding out a bit of information and doing a bit of research about Firebase. Firebase, it's a mechanism, it has a database first, also some form of authentication, either via email or by cell phone. But the one that we are going to be focusing on, of course, is it's the email part, meaning when we register users, they need to be authenticated. How? By sending an email link to the address to confirm if it is a correct email address they had used. That's the first part. The second part is, of course, the registration, the login and the log out. So what I'm going to focus on basically is that. But first things first is that you'll have to first create, go to Firebase, which is a Google environment. You go to Firebase and register there using your Gmail account. Once you register there are there are options. I think some you pay for them, some are free, but I'm on the free option. Depending on what you want to use, pay per use, or whatever the case might be, that depending on the type of project you're going to be creating. So now I've created a couple of projects here, so we're going to forget about the project I've created, but focus on the project that we are going to create now. So meaning when we get to Firebase, what is it that we need to do? So I am going to add a project, and this project I'm going to call it by the exact name as my project that I have created here, which is called Routingly. So I'm going to create my project call, and I'm going to call it Routingly. There's a reason why we use it to be the same name. Even the database of our database, we're going to make it the same name as the project name. Once it's created, click on continue, default account for Firebase, and create project. I click on continue. Then from here, we want to create an application. This is our new project, and from here we will create an application to our project. So click on this icon, which is the web. From here, again, our application, give it the same name, register app. Continue. That's first fine. We'll do this a little bit later. Continue, because we can always come back to this. And from here, this is our project. We go to authentication. And from here, on authentication, you click on sign in method. And this is where we're going to activate the email and password. So we're going to activate the email and password. So it has been enabled. Let's forget this about now. Once it has been enabled, our focus now should be in how do we configure the Firebase modules, how do we add them? Just like when we get to creating APIs in PHP, so we need to create an environment for it here. If you remember when we added the iOS and the Android, we had to go to documentation and be able to install certain plugins for us to be able to use the simulator on Android. So it's the very same thing. So we need to go to the documentation of Firebase. There's two types. There's Cordova Enterprise and Capacitor. So we're using Capacitor. So I'm going to install these commands on my application. I'm trying to pause it here so that it doesn't waste our time, but I'm struggling to pause it. While it is still loading, let's just also, I'm looking for because I see that where the page is. Let's add the login page while it is this. Okay, before we add the login page, let's add the registration page. So, which is the sign up page. So what I'll do is let me just copy there's a couple of projects I have that have the registration. It has the same thing, the app logo. If we go to our components, there's a logo. So let me just double check whether I've added the component module on my sign up. See, for an example now, see on my sign up, the icon, which is this one, app logo, won't display because the app logo is referencing the logo here, and this logo I'm calling an image. So, and all of that has been exported on my components. See, all of that, I've got the logo component, I've declared and I've exported them. So I'm gonna have to put the component in the sign up so that it knows what it is working with. For this point in time, I don't think let's just put the username and let's just put the email and the password for now. It's fine. So we're just gonna register the email and the password. The reason I don't want to add the other parts at this point in time is because we're going to be using I want us to use two things. We're going to use the Firebase precisely for authentication of the email and login and log out. But in terms of now saving our data, in as much as Firebase does have a database, as we can see, but we are not going to use this database because this is a NoSQL database. So we're going to be using a MySQL database. So meaning for authentication, we're going to be using Firebase, but for storage of our data, we're going to be using a different database. So there, it means we need to create an API to link into our database. So let me just check how far are we. I think there's something I need to run, but it's fine. There's a command I need to add to clean up all of these vulnerabilities, but it's not a problem because it's not a train smash. Doesn't mean it's all gonna work. Now while it's still loading, this is what I want us to do. We're gonna go to our Firebase. There's a configuration file that I want us to I think it should be here in templates. Just there's a key that I'm looking for, the key that I ignored at the start with the test mode. The particular key I'm looking for this is the key that we have to add to our project so that it knows the configuration file, that is, so that it knows and we'll add this to environments. And just call it Firebase config. So I have it here on environments. And let me check how far are we. It's fine. Let me just continue with the I also just want to see how it looks. So let me just go to my project and see that under slide